every Friday as we wrap up our broadcast week, our friends at Local Environmental give us a chance to blow off a little steam and say what we mean and mean what we say in the form of emails in a feature we call Trash Talk. All right, this one from Kyla, who says, you want to know what's like the worst? Like, what's the worst? When it snows overnight and you come out to your vehicle and you realize you need a couple extra minutes to grab the snow brush and clear your windows, and so you open your car door and whoosh, a huge drift of snow gets sucked into the vehicle and settles like freshly fallen snow onto your driver's seat every single time. Wet pants on the way to work, the worst. That from Kyla. I feel your pain, girl. This from Donna, who says, I cannot fully express how absolutely pissed I am regarding everything that Alberta's premier spews out of his mouth. He's a fucked up man. Gets his jollies from denigrating liberal-minded people, whether they're in support of public education or members of the LGBTQ2S plus community or health restrictions. He totally reduced them in an attempt to keep his job a little longer. He walks a fine line between moderate conservatives and far-right radicals, abandons anybody in the center, let alone the left. How did this guy ever get this far? I was once frightened at the thought of Brian Jean in the Lake of Fire Party getting leadership. Now I believe Brian Jean has a heartbeat and Jason doesn't. I'm happy that city folks are realizing what's going to happen if we're not careful. I pray hospitalized numbers start to drop, but I've lost faith that this government actually cares. They can't think for the many people needing surgeries. They can't think for the people being set months in their recovery. They can't think about anybody that's been traumatized by this uncaring premier, his constant bashing of teachers, his early harassment of medical personnel. This will leave scars. This makes me embarrassed. That from Donna. What about this one from Laurel, who says February of 2022 should go down in history as the most embarrassing month in history to be from Alberta. I was born in Saskatchewan, but I've lived here for almost 20 years, and the amount of hate for our prime minister in this province is bordering on cultish. The convoy was started by a group of Western separatists who named their little project Canada Unity, and the irony needs to be savored, but I will move on, okay? They got this coup d'etat. They've got this idiotic memorandum of understanding. I mean, they don't even understand they wouldn't be allowed into the U.S. regardless, but again, I will move on. I'd like to remind people to look back on the 10 years of Stephen Harper's Conservative government. I wasn't his biggest fan. In fact, when a young Senate page stood up with that Stop Harper sign during a throne speech, many Canadians rallied and worked hard to remove that government from power. We worked in our communities. We found candidates. We knocked on doors. We got out the vote. And in 2015, that happened. We didn't drive to Ottawa with a ludicrous plan to overthrow a recently elected government and create mayhem in the lives of our fellow Canadians. As Albertans, we got to own this. We have much work to do. Happy Friday, Laurel. P.S. Fuck Putin. Thank you, Laurel. What about this one from Nicole, who says, hey, Captain Kobe, I love what you had to say about the truckers and freedoms, but what the fuck, man? Calling convoyers wannabe heroes with GEDs and Class 1s, using somebody's education to insult them? You fucking kidding me? And then you, Ryan, quoting the line, not once, but twice? Yeah, laugh it up, boys. And then explain to me what education has to do with any of this. I know a shitload of intelligent people with their GEDs, and they overcame incredible odds to get them. That includes my own dad. Not everybody's privileged enough to have access to higher education, or maybe they just don't fucking want you to. That doesn't mean they should be lumped in with the selfish, spoiled babies who call their tantrum a protest, and it certainly doesn't mean they should ever be made to feel less than. And yes, I see you rolling your eyes that I'm some snowflake who's easily offended. I'm reading it. She says, fuck that. I'm just tired of this elitist bullshit coming from people who think they're progressive. People wanted to believe that Trump voters were all uneducated. You would be wrong. It would be comforting to believe that, but it's a bit more complicated than that, don't you think? Captain Kobe, next you're going to tell me if I don't like what's being said, I don't have to listen. You don't get off that easy, son. I'm going to listen to your bullshit, and then I'm going to call you out for it. Ironically, making fun of somebody's education just ain't all that intelligent. That from Nicole. Love it! And this one from Annie, who says, it seems to me people are more afraid now than maybe ever before to even consider opinions different than their own. I see it everywhere, even with my own friends. I see it in my workplace. I see it in society. I even see it with my fellow Real Talkers. I watch every morning, including the live chat, but I don't participate. I'm also one of those lurkers on Twitter. I have an account, but I don't tweet. I'm just there to watch and learn. At least learning is what I thought I'd be doing. Now it's just a bunch of monkeys throwing poop at each other in the zoo for the entertainment of the zoo goers, and I guess I'm the zoo goer in this one. A couple examples pretty close to home for you, Ryan, flared up this week. Your interview with that Captain Kobe guy, which I thought was really great, and your thoughts yesterday about mask policies or habits and immunocompromised people, and your friend with CF. Seeing that one guy call you a Kenny apologist, another lady call you a flippant and uncaring person, and the person call you a selfish piece of shit for getting people thinking about when at some point in the future, whenever that is, they're going to start maybe sorta, kinda considering when they might stop wearing a mask outdoors. Anyway, I'm gonna keep on doing my thing, says Annie, which has always been to try to consider where other people are coming from. Try to keep an open mind. Realize that behind all of our opinions are people, human beings. There are bigger problems, bigger fish to fry. Cancer kids are taking shelter in parkades in Ukraine right now. Food and medical supplies are running low. Let's keep our perspective and have a great weekend, everybody. That from Annie. Coming up on the show on Monday, we've got a star-studded show in store, and the next week's looking good too, including how tensions surrounding Ukraine and the border blockade in Coutts, Alberta are actually related. Dr. Andy Knight's going to talk to us about that. Plus, science journalist David McCraney's got a new book coming out, Why Some People Never Change Their Minds and Others Do in an Instant. We'll get into how minds change. And Sam, in your final visual switch of your time here as the daily technical producer of Real Talk, please take this board, which features you looking great in a vest and a bow tie, as we wish you all the best, Brooksy. Hey, Real Talkers, we'll see you Monday. In the meantime, be good to one another. One love.